Piers Morgan has obliterated Meghan Markle's racist blackmail threat. How did he do it? Stay tuned to find out more. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness. Yeah, let's jump into this, shall we? So I'm going to explain how Piers Morgan obliterated Meg's blackmail racist threat by using Piers Morgan's own words himself, because yes, he wrote this op-ed for the Times saying why I named the so-called racist. Now, he explains that, like myself last Thursday, he was watching This Morning and the interview with Omid Scobie, and he heard a startling claim involving himself that essentially he wanted to burn Megxie and Hazza alive. Yeah, I know. And Piers Morgan, when he heard that, he was like, what? I did? Huh? When did I say that? Now, it's obviously a serious thing. He says it should obviously lead to his instant cancellation and probable arrest for inciting violence against two beloved public figures, if true, right? Only problem is, yeah, Piers Morgan never said it, right? In fact, at the end of a column for The Sun that he wrote, he writes, quote, "We're supposed to believe Meghan and Harry are keen to build bridges with the royals and even want to spend Christmas with them at Sandringham, which seems about as likely as me being invited up there to pull a festive cracker. I can't speak for Charles, Camilla, William or Kate, but if two close members of my family had spent the past few years trashing the rest of us on global media platforms, the only way I'd want to spend Christmas with them is if they were human chestnuts roasting on my open fire." Now, out of that, do you read that Piers Morgan's turning around and saying that he wants Megxie and Hazza burnt alive? I don't. Do you? So, that is Omid Scobie debunking number one, right? And of course, as Piers Morgan is explaining, he was talking hypothetically and he was joking about members of his own family, not Megxie or Hazza. But this is a thing, right? As we all know, Omid Scobie's facts, just not a strong point for him, right? Describes Endgame as a monarchy trashing book at the centre of a global firestorm. And he says, look, I've been part of that firestorm too, after deciding last week on Wednesday on his Talk TV show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, to publicly name the names that were uncovered in the Dutch version of Endgame. Now, why did he do this? And by doing this, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, he then removed Meg's blackmail racist threat, right? So here we go. He says, first and foremost, it seemed absurd to him that the Dutch people should be privy to significant information about our royal family, the British royal family. But the British people in this instance will be prevented from knowing it? No. Second, he says this whole farrago has gone on long enough and caused enough damage. Frankly, it's time we were told exactly what was allegedly said by whom, to who, when and where it was said, and in exactly what context. Otherwise, this deeply divisive, racially charged sort will continue to ooze its way into global public consciousness. Third, because in reporting the names, their identities can no longer be held over them as some kind of blackmail threat by the Sussexes, who have deliberately fueled the furore by refusing to say who they are or what they said. My own firm belief, he writes, which I'm sure will be shared by most of the British public, is that neither Charles or Kate ever made any racist comments about baby Archie, and that this is a sickening slur on the characters of two people who've spent their lives in public service advocating for racial equality and justice. And the other reason I would say was a good reason to actually name the names that were in the Dutch version is because before then, there was a target on every royal member's back, right? Could you have said it? 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 Well, you know what? That's gone now. They've been named. But guess what? It's backfired on Omid Scobie and the Sussexes. Why? because majority of us don't believe it. Majority of us don't believe that King Charles and the Princess of Wales had such a racist conversation about the colour of the skin of unborn baby Archie. It makes zero sense whatsoever to us, right? Now, Piers Morgan also says that, look, one of the reasons for his view and for his rationale to name the names is the way that the initial claims had unravelled since the Oprah interview aired in America back in 2021. He says, at the time, I vociferously expressed my opinion on Good Morning Britain that I didn't believe a word of the racism allegations, not least because Meghan and Harry, he writes, couldn't even agree on what year they were supposed to have been uttered. She said it was when she was pregnant. He said it was before they got engaged. Or in many conversations. As a consequence of my incredulity, as in, like, I really don't believe this, what the hell, right? ITV told me I must either apologise to Meghan for disbelieving her or leave my job. So I left my job. And you know what? When that happened, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with him or not, right? He stood up for his principles. He stood up for what he believed in and gave two fingers to, quote-unquote, the man, right, and walked out. For that, Piers Morgan's got my respect. I'll tell you that right now. Now, 2 days later, Prince William had denied that the royal family was racist. The racism claims then were not repeated in the Hazard and Meghan mockumentary on Netflix, nor in Archewell, Archetypes, the podcast series on Spotify, and they weren't repeated either in Hazard's Spare, otherwise known as Wham, right? It was as if, he writes, the racist comments had never happened. But finally, January this year, Prince Harry had that interview with Tom Bradby, and he was like, no, we never said that the royals were racist. Oh, no. It's all about unconscious bias. They're just unconscious biased. They're not racist, right? It's as if, okay, we've got another moment here that's the equivalent of Jada Pinkett Smith turning around to Will Smith and saying, do you know what? I didn't have an affair. It was an entanglement. What? Oh my goodness. This is the thing though. Why did it take him nearly 2 years to clarify this? And I've asked this as well because when the Oprah interview came out, I've shown you guys the receipts. The press across the world, it wasn't just Britain, right? And I've shown you the receipts. All said the same thing. Hazard and Meghan, the racist royal, this, that and the other. Not once did Hazard and Meghan, through their spokesperson, turn around and say, oh, no. We didn't call them racist. It's just unconscious biasness. They didn't once speak out against any of those hundreds of headlines, instead waiting 2 years to be like, no, we didn't call them racist, it's just unconscious biasness. So I agree with Piers Morgan's question here. Why did it take him 2 years to nearly clarify this? And he has some questions for Omid too. How did he know who Meghan named in a private letter to Charles? She denies involvement in Endgame, but she said that about finding freedom, and guess what? Had to later admit and go, yeah, sorry, I misremembered. I've been in conspiracy theory, whatever. I think she lied her backside off, but whatever, right? Now, make sure if you missed my video from earlier on, watch it. Because Omid Scobie has been caught red-handed. He did name the two royals in at least one of the manuscripts for Endgame, even though he initially said he didn't, right? But Kinsey Schofield on Talk TV, owner, creator, host of To Die For Daily, she got an anonymous tip that might lead to uncovering evidence that Meghan and Hazard were involved with Endgame as well. Check that out in my video that I released earlier on today. It's a doozy, guys. It is a doozy, right? Now, Piers Morgan strongly suspects that either Meghan, Hazard, or one of their friends, at the behest of Meghan and Hazard, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, must have told Omid Scobie the names. Because it makes no sense whatsoever that the royal family would do it, that the royal family would out their own. would out two of the most popular royal members of the family at all, Princess Catherine and King Charles. You think they're going to out King Charles? He's head of it all. He's the crown. You think they're going to out Princess Catherine, the most popular one out the whole of the royal family? I don't think so. Logically speaking, opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, I agree with Piers. It was Team Sussex that did this. And their damning silence, it says this week, hasn't diminished my suspicions. If my theory is correct, it means the Sussexes are still waging their vicious war on the royals, designed to denigrate the family's reputation and terminally damage the monarchy. Again, trying to realise, as far as I'm concerned, Omid Scobie's dream of the monarchy's endgame, right? Now, let's just recap what we've just discussed here, right? So last Wednesday, Piers Morgan on public TV was the first one to name the royals in the whole racist royal saga that was uncovered in the Dutch version of Endgame. He's just explained in this article to the Times why he did it. One of the reasons were to remove Meghan's racist blackmail threat that she could hold over the royal family. It's done now. What can she do at this stage? Sussex's next move, right, guys? With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and believe me, of course there's going to be more, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe, because I'll be honest with you, help us get to 100k so we can get that silver play button right there and hopefully cause a Christopher Boozy meltdown on Twitter. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also, as well, if you've got some very strong opinions about what I've just discussed, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.